So, installing NordVPN on a router is something a lot of people put off, usually because it sounds more technical than it actually is. But don't worry, it's a pretty straightforward process once you know the steps. So today, I'll walk you through how to set up NordVPN on your router, step by step, plus a few things worth knowing so everything works the way it should. And just a reminder, I'll include links to everything in the description. Now, the reason a router setup is worth doing is that it protects every device on your home network at once. So things like smart TVs and game consoles that can't run the NordVPN app on their own still get covered. And the nice part is that the router only counts as one of your 10 simultaneous connections, no matter how many devices are behind it. Basically, instead of each device making its own encrypted connection, the router itself connects to the NordVPN server. Then everything that goes through the router automatically travels through that tunnel. Now, something to note is that while the NordVPN apps default to their NordLens protocol, router setups use OpenVPN instead, since that's what NordVPN provides configuration files for. OpenVPN is a well-established protocol with the same AES-256 encryption, so you're not giving up security here. So before you start, you'll need a couple of things. First, a router that can actually run as an OpenVPN client, and this is the most common blocker because a lot of the routers you get from your internet provider don't support this. So check your router's admin panel or your manufacturer's documentation for a VPN client section before you go any further. You'll also want your NordVPN credentials handy. And keep in mind, the credentials for manual connections may not be the same as your regular account login, so check the manual setup page in your Nord account to make sure you're using the right ones. So to start, download the OpenVPN configuration file for the server you want to use, which you'll find through your Nord account. I'd recommend picking a server close to you because a nearby server will generally give you better speeds. You'll also see the option of a UDP or TCP version of the file. UDP is usually the faster choice, so start there and keep TCP in your back pocket as a fallback if the connection turns out to be unstable. Then log into your router's admin panel, which you can usually reach by typing the router's address into a browser. That address is typically printed somewhere on the router itself. After that, find the VPN client section, upload the configuration file you downloaded, and enter your credentials. Next, it's worth updating your router's DNS settings to use NordVPN's own DNS servers, which they publish on their site. Because NordVPN routes DNS queries through the tunnel, this helps make sure the websites you look up aren't leaking outside the encrypted connection. And finally, enable the VPN client and let the router connect. Now, to verify it's working, open a browser on any device in your home and check your IP address. If it shows the location of the server you picked instead of your real location, you're good to go. It's also worth running a DNS leak check, and NordVPN has a leak test on their own site you can use for that. Now, if the router won't connect at all, the usual culprit is the credentials. So double check you grab the manual setup credentials rather than your regular login. And if it connects but keeps dropping, try the TCP version of the configuration file, or download the file for a different server. If your speed seems slower than you're used to, that's fairly normal for this kind of setup. Basically, OpenVPN runs on your router's processor, which is a lot weaker than a computer's, and OpenVPN itself tends to be slower than NordLink's, though the exact numbers vary quite a bit between tests. So a router connection trades some speed for the convenience of whole home coverage. And if a streaming service throws an error, don't assume the setup is broken. Streaming services block VPN IP addresses all the time, so downloading a configuration file for a different server and swapping it in usually fixes it. There are a couple of honest limitations worth knowing too. First, everything on your network goes through the one server location you chose, so if you want to switch countries, you'll need to swap in a different configuration file rather than just clicking a button like in the app. And second, NordVPN doesn't offer port forwarding, so if you were hoping to use this setup for remote access to a home server, or to improve your seating ratios while torrenting, just keep in mind that's not something this configuration can do. So just to recap real quick, confirm your router supports OpenVPN client mode, download the configuration file for a nearby server, upload it in the router's VPN section with your manual setup credentials, point your DNS at NordVPN servers, then connect and verify your new IP. And from there, every device in your home is covered under a single connection. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If so, please leave a thumbs up, as I always appreciate that. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave those down in the comments below, as I love getting to answer as many of those as I can. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.